Okay, so we're just about a minute after 7, and the numbers are ticking up pretty good. We got a couple hundred people trying to get in at this moment. Eric, are you about ready? Did you want to set a start time?
Yeah, I think we can go ahead and get rolling. You guys hear me okay?
Absolutely, we can.
Okay. You mean to welcome everybody, Dina?
Yes, welcome everyone to the Chief Brief. We have the chiefs and the assistant chiefs in attendance here this evening. We appreciate you taking time out. We have 4 staffers on this call today. Dan, the training manager, is going to run the PowerPoint for us. John and I will be managing the chat room where we need all the questions to go. And then Eric is here for all the support and the beginning and intro and to answer any of the tough questions for us. So that's amazing. So Eric, whenever you're ready, we've got about 100 and it's still clicking up, 163, but I'm pretty sure we can get started. I don't see any officers that are contacting me to say they're having problems getting in, so I'm sure they're just about to get in.
Need to go ahead a couple slides here.
Okay. Yep. So we'll have to let Dan know when we're ready to move on because we can't really see the faces so great. But welcome everyone. We're about a week away and we're really excited. So take it away, Eric.
All right. Just wanted to welcome everybody to training. Thank you all for coming and we'll try to keep it pretty brief tonight. We want to cover the major topics and the problems that we see that you guys run into sometimes. Just some reminders as we go through and get ready for this election. Thanks to those of you who have already worked a special election this year. This is our, 4th election in about 6 months here. So we are keeping busy and our voters are keeping busy with lots of different things on the ballot over the last 6 months here in the county. I wanted to start off tonight by mentioning a few important principles, and if you all want to jot down these couple bullets at the table of contents or somewhere early in your manual, if you've got it with it, that can be a good idea. Here's why I mention these in particular. So I got 3 principles here that I wanted to mention tonight. If you follow these, the rest of the stuff is going to kind of all follow along with that. So there's obviously specifics that you all need to know about how to help process a provisional ballot, how to help a voter check in, how to know when there's a scanner issue, and all kinds of things that pop up on election day. No one election day at any precinct is ever the same. You have different observers, you have different officers, you have different problems. So I appreciate you all, the leadership you show, the experience that you bring to the positions that you're in, election in and election out. I look through the chat names there and I see a lot of familiar names that I've seen, over the years, and so some new ones as well, which is great. Okay, so let me go through these principles here. First one, be an active leader. This isn't always easy, and what this involves is at the precinct, you need to be watching the officers, you need to be correcting things, and this is especially true at the start of the day. You as a chief need to have your manual out and be watching the officers, making sure they're following the procedure so you start off on the right foot. You don't have someone who's checking in voters wrong or saying a message that isn't clear or using language that isn't quite what they're supposed to be saying to the voters. And those little things can make a difference because people can misinterpret how you say things. You can miss one step that then, some observer at your site is going to call us and complain you're not following the procedure. We're going to have to follow up with you. So be an active leader. It's not always easy. Sometimes giving people advice, some officers are like, oh, I'm glad you said something. I really appreciate that. Some officers are like, I know what I'm doing and I don't need to hear from you. And you have to kind of work with each person, individual personality, and kind of bridge that gap and make it clear to them that you're there as quality control. You're there as oversight to make sure that the procedures are being followed on election day. And there's a lot of them. And I think that's a good thing to reiterate to them. Look, there's hundreds of pages of manual and law around elections. We're not all going to memorize them. We're not all going to get them right every time. So that's why I'm going to be monitoring you. I'm here to help you out and make sure you're doing the right thing so we're doing the right thing for the voters. So that's principle number 1. Principle number 2 is user support network. The subtitle here could be make sure you're doing the process correctly. And that is that when you are not sure of what the process should be, maybe there's a step in your manual that you're not sure how to interpret it. Maybe you have a situation that you have not run into before and you're not sure how to proceed. make sure that you're using that support network. That includes your manual, referencing your manual. That includes your special assistant that's there to support you. That includes especially Chief HQ. Not sure about something, call Chief HQ, get your question answered, make sure you're moving forward with the right procedure, giving the voter the right answer, whatever the situation may be. But use that support network. Lastly, an important one, prioritize the opening and the closing of the equipment. Now, we say this every election, and I'm sure I'll be saying this, 3 years from now, 5 years from now, if I'm still in trainings. There's two reasons this is important. In the morning, it's important that you can start on this right away when you get there, because if there's a problem with your poll books, that we truly need someone to come out and help with it. Maybe you have a dud poll book. Maybe there's a hardware issue. We want to identify that as quickly as we can. We've had situations where we've had dud equipment, real problems. We're able to get people out there. We're able to fix it. We're able to have it ready to go when 6 o'clock rolls around and not hold up your precinct at all. So it's really important you start on that in the morning so we can identify the issues, we can take care of them as quickly as possible, and keep you all rolling at all the polling places once we hit 6 a.m. At closing, it's important because we're awaiting results, and we want you to close that equipment as soon as you can so that you can then enter that results as soon as you can, so you can double check it as soon as you can, so we can fulfill the basic function of our office. And the most important one is, how did people vote and how are these results coming out? We can get those out in a timely fashion so that candidates and parties can celebrate or be disappointed or know what those results are. So I just wanted to mention those three things: be an active leader, use your support network, and prioritize opening and closing that equipment. If you do those three things, the rest of the stuff we're going to talk about is all going to fall under that, and you're going to have a good day on election day. So thank you all very much. Appreciate this in what is kind of a very unusual statewide special election. And I hope your days go well, and we will be there to support you on election day. I think I'm passing it over to Dina now.
Yes, sir.
Okay. All right. Thank you all.
Thank you, Eric. Those are some good principles to go by. Okay, so starting here, our overview today, things we're going to cover tonight: important reminders, emphasize some problem areas and how to fix them, review important issues like common mistakes and new items. We have quite a few new items. Answer your questions, of course. There'll be some time for questions if you get something in the chat when I'm done speaking, and then of course at the very end. And then wear your lanyards and pins. So you will have new officers. There's 72 new officers in the precincts this time. They will have their t-shirt and their manual, but they will need a lanyard and a badge. So we have, I think, 5 extra lanyards and badges in each of the chief bags. We do have a couple returning officers that haven't worked in this cycle and don't have a badge as well. So feel free to hand those out to people that don't have them. They are dated, so but they're in the chief bag, so keep that in mind. Okay. All right, so new this election, some exciting stuff. First of all, schools are closed. When we first found out we were having an election, I think it took about 2.5, 3 weeks, maybe even more, before they decided to close the schools, and we were a little nervous about it. We were, constantly checking the news, and this just makes it so much easier for everyone. So you should be in your regular locations. I'm sure you guys have done your site visits already, but if you haven't, it should be pretty much normal operating at each of the schools. Most of our precincts are schools, so it's kind of a big deal. If they were open, it would be a little bit more difficult, but they're not. They closed, so they took that advantage of that, as did like Loudoun and Fairfax. So we all came together on that, which is excellent. Okay, I voted stickers. A big point on this, and you may have some voter comments, but because we're on our 3rd election, we have 5 elections this year, we are running out of stickers. And instead of printing more stickers, we're using some of the ones that we have from last year, because we didn't have 5 elections last year. So we do have some extra stickers. And then we have the original ones, those ones use last. So use last year's first, the one with the Marine Corps Museum on it, and then if you run out of those, then go to the original ones. But we are being fiscally sound with the taxpayer dollar, and we decided not to just use what we have. So that might come up, but you guys can be aware of that. And then provisional flow chart. So as you can see, there's a sample here of the provisional flow chart. And if your brain doesn't work in a flowchart manner, this may be overwhelming to some, but for some, like myself, it was very helpful. The Start Here button is the blue area there. That's where you start. But it does answer, if you answer each question going through. If we're piloting this right now, but when it goes into full, I guess, production, it will be branded and the format will change a little bit on it. But this is a very, very good tool. If you prefer this over the what ifs, we have the what ifs you can use. There's also the move rules that are integral with that. But this is a very nice tool. It was requested. It was requested that we do a flow chart. And because provisionals are difficult, it is, there are a lot of avenues to get down to the end of result, but it is accurate and it's been tried and and tested as far as accuracy. So please, on your post-election survey, along with any other suggestion, and let us know, because we have a lot of new training materials and videos that we've been sending out. In addition to that, if you could put in your comments if you found this flow chart helpful, that would be great. And then we're piloting also a new accountability officer, which is basically the assistant chief. It's the assistant chief. So the chief is the primary. The equipment provisional person has, the equipment title, and the assistant chief is really just a support officer for both the chief and the equipment provisional specialist. So because on the day after every election, we do have to audit the paperwork, we audit the results, and there's quite a few blanks, signatures missing, SOR is not filled out completely, some SOR is not completed at all, just missing pieces. So because it is frantic at the end of the night, and if there's presumptions of who's finishing what, and if things have been double checked, sometimes there's a new team and they're not in sync yet. We just thought it would be really a good idea to have one officer at the end of the night double check everything. Double check all the signatures are on all of the tally tapes, that everything that belongs in each envelope is in there and it's accurate. And just one more person, and because it's an AO, the assistant chief officer, we call them AOs. Well, this is an AO also. So we just kind of played on that, and it's the accountability officer, and it's just basically a double check is what it is, but it is necessary. So we very much appreciate you guys stepping up and doing that. All right, next. Oh, wait, I saw there was something in there. John, did you have any questions about the provisional?
Yeah, I was writing them down. There were questions about whether we can share a copy of it. We'll consider it. We'll look into it. It is a pilot. So we'll look into it, and if we can share, we'll send out a mass email to the leadership team. And there was also a question about whether where is it going to be delivered. It's going to be with your chief supplies. We'll emphasize it when you come and pick up your chief supplies. Don't remember if it's in the binder or if it's in the green bag with all your provisional items.
Yeah, I think they were deciding the green bag, trying to keep all the provisional items together. That was the last I heard. But either way, it's going to go over, because you go over both items at the chief bag pickup, and it'll be in there. And I can see not sending it out initially, just because it's clearly not. It's not branded. It's a pilot. It's not ready for action yet. It's just we need some feedback from the specialists. Boots on the ground. You guys will be able to help us with that. So, okay. All right, so this election is a constitutional amendment. So it has one question. It's a yes or no question. We're going to have two posters, one in Spanish and one in English, and we'll have brochures in both Spanish and English as well. You'll have limited brochures, so I would only upon request give those out, obviously, but you will have a couple hundred of the brochures in each chief bag, and I think there's like 100 Spanish. So you'll have plenty of those. It's a pretty easy, most people that come in, we've had, you know, weeks and weeks of early voting here at the main office. It's gone very well. People come in, they know exactly what they're doing. There's not a lot of questions, but if there are, just give them the brochures. And of course, you know, right now we have 330,000 registered voters. Turnout is 12%, which is pretty good for a special. We don't often have full countywide specials, so you know they're usually in small little jurisdictions. But the average marking station time is only 35 seconds. So even if you do have a little bit of a line, like maybe right at the beginning or right at the end, just keep calm and know it's a quick ballot. It's one question. It'll be 35 seconds in and out. So don't worry too much and just keep your cool on that because they'll move fast. Okay, Dan? All right, so you have early voting. It is open now and through the 18th, which is this Saturday. Tomorrow we have the evening hours. If you still work and you want to get your early voting in because you're not in your precinct, tomorrow we're open till 7 in all the sites. And remember, we have 5 satellite sites and the main office. So there's 6 full sites open. If you go to our website, and I actually highly recommend you going to the website, because if you actually study our website a little bit, you can answer the questions off the top of your head when you talk to the voters. But for you guys, yes, early voting, and it ends Saturday at 5. So weekdays it's 4:30. Tomorrow it is 7 p.m., but on Saturday it's 5. So it's 8:30 to 5 on Saturday if you're going to try to hit that up before Election Day. Okay? Oh, and back up one time, Dan. Sorry. I did want to mention for all of you, you should have gotten one because they were mailed to each of the residents of registered voters, but we did send out a voter guide as well to assist the voters and give them the dates and times. So there's been over communication with that. So that's good, hopefully. And I think that's why everybody's been coming in pretty informed and pretty positive about, you know, they know what they're going to do. They're in and out, and, you know, it's been a pretty positive experience thus far. Okay, go ahead. All right, so the sample ballot, you know, you get one of these, you put that up on the wall. So you'll have a sample ballot on the wall. You'll also have 2 posters and pamphlets. That is where the voter should get their information. What can you answer? The basic information that you should always answer. You know, please no talking in the marking stations. They ask you about the amendment itself. You direct them to the wall or hand them a pamphlet. You don't discuss the amendment at all. You don't give any explanation because anything can be taken out of context, and you just want to say we have examples. Here's a pamphlet. If you'd like to step out of line, you feel free to read it. And yes, you can use your phone inside the marking station. You just can't talk. And then the technical questions, basically it's the same thing. Somebody walks up, they usually say, does it matter which side? So if you can catch them and say either side will do, wait for the American flag, and then basically stop talking so you don't interrupt them in their voting process. They see the American flag, and we haven't disrupted that by speaking while they're looking for the flag. And then, of course, again, just refer the voters to the brochures and the posters if they have any questions. Okay. All right, so in the 500s, 600s, and 700s, if your precincts are any of those, you will be changing to, we're piloting this time, it is a single port adapter. So with the poll book, you know, there was like a little cord that plugged in, and there was a little brick, and it had a little USB on there, thumb drive. It's not on there. It's going to be one. It goes directly into the machine, and the hand scanner plugs directly into that. So when you're looking, it's a single port adapter. You can see the picture here. It goes right into the side, and then you just plug the hand scanner in there. And don't panic, because if at any point in time you're not understanding, call HQ. And remember, you don't have to have a hand scanner to run a poll book. You just do the last name 3, 3 first name, and you can get that started, because you never want to open late, even if your hand scanners aren't working, and then you wait till there's a lull and you call HQ to get that handled. But we're piloting these in 3 magisterial districts this time, and then assuming that all goes well, then in the next election in August, which mark your calendars. You know, the primary moved from June to August 4th. So please mark your calendars because we are going to really need you because a lot of people are going to be on vacation. There's my little sales pitch. But just make sure that, just to let you know, we'll have the single port probably in every jurisdiction come August. Okay. All right, questions. John, you got anything in there?
No, there were a lot of questions about what do we expect for turnout. This is not a typical special election, so it's kind of hard to predict. But Eric, our director, did share something in the chat. He said it's looking like it's trending. It's trending like the last governor's race we just had, 2025. So turnout has been pretty high for mail and early voting. I mean, we've had, I think, 12% turnout so far. I mean, we still have 4 more days we're going to be open, so that number is going to continue to grow.
Absolutely. And then this is where I hand it off to John, and I'll take over the chat. Thanks, John.
All right. Common mistakes. Perfect. All right, so let's talk about first thing in the morning. We have a lot of new chiefs this time. The availability wasn't what we typically get. This election kind of came out of nowhere, so there was not a lot of availability. There are a lot of new chiefs out there, so just want to point out that there is a difference between the regular ballots and the provisional ballots. We have an example down there on the bottom with that yellow arrows pointing. That's the best way to know what ballot you're issuing. If it says provisional, it's a provisional. Also, we made it easy to identify. The provisional ballots come in on an envelope with a green label, and we even added a green document or a green sheet inside of the envelope that says, hey, these are provisional ballots. So we're hoping to avoid getting those phone calls that we usually get in the morning that kind of make our heart skip a beat, and basically saying, hey, our ballots are not working, and we immediately think, oh my God, what happened? And it always turns out to be someone opened up the wrong batch of ballots. So just make sure that you have the right ballots in the morning. Provisional stay in the chief station. The regular ballots go to the check-in stations. And just remember, if your ballots are being rejected first thing in the morning, just double check on the top right of the ballot and make sure that it doesn't say provisional. All right, next slide. All right, so mistakes at the voter check-in. So like Dina mentioned, we have a lot of new election officers out in the field this time. Don't worry, no one's getting more than one. So one thing with new election officers, you want to make sure that you watch them during their first run, their first stint at the poll book. Just want to make sure that they're checking voters in correctly. We introduced the timestamp on your poll book. There's an example of it right there on the bottom right. So when you reopen someone's voter information screen, you'll see a timestamp and it'll tell you what time the voter was checked in. So that way this avoids that confusion that we're seeing, where someone is checked in, an election officer goes through the whole check-in process, and then they just see the red bar and they immediately think, oh, this person's already voted, even though they were just checked in. This timestamp will help, just sort that out. Just make sure that you open it up. If you see that person was checked in literally a minute before, then that most likely means that the election officer just made an error. So that's there to help you. We've heard from chiefs that are using it, they like it. So just remember you have an extra tool there. And let's see. Yep, that's all. Next slide. Yep. All right, so something new this election, we're introducing these provisional overlays. This is to verify that no required field is left blank. You must use it. This will be a perfect tool for that accountability officer or your assistant chief to use before the provisional ballot is cast into that provisional bag. So just make sure you put this on top of the provisional envelope. Make sure all those fields are completed. The denial rate of our total provisional denial rate in 2025 general election was about 9.5%, and a third of those were because of missing information. So what we're trying to combat here is that there are no fields left blank. These are easy things that we can fix. This should help. Remember that the voter has to complete all the fields with the asterisk. We require full social security numbers for all SCRs, and then just verify all the signatures. So not just the voter fields, but also the election officer fields. And also, oh, can you go back one, Dan? Yeah, just make sure you use this. Tell us how it goes too after the election. Send us an email or on your survey. Let us know how it goes. And yeah, and just remember, there's two of them. One of them is for the same day registration side of the envelope, and you can see it right there on the label. It says SDR. The other one is for all other reasons, reasons number 3 to 7. So just make sure you're using the right side. All right, next slide.
John,
Yes.
can I interrupt? Because I have quite a few questions.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Do we need to go back?
No,
Okay.
not on that. You can answer them and I'll just go
Okay.
through them in the order. All right, so just clarify here, if someone has been checked in and
Mhm.
they want to call somebody or use their phone and go outside to talk to somebody, can we uncheck them so that they can do that?
Yeah, just uncheck them. That's the best thing to do. Just uncheck them. What if they don't come back, or where they come back like 2 hours later? Yep.
And
so
what
just
if,
uncheck.
yeah, and if we handed them a ballot at that time, we just spoil it, right?
Yep, just spoil that ballot, uncheck them, and then they come back when they're ready.
Okay, and
All right.
then if you could go over the provisionals, oh no, if you're going to need stand-up stations, how do you get that?
Just ask us when you come to Chief HQ.
Okay. And then, let's see.
Someone asked about selfie posters. I think
Oh.
they mean the selfie props. I'm assuming we're still sending those out.
Yes,
Then the little popsicle stick props, but not posters.
correct.
Right. And anything else, Eric, I'm missing?
Someone asked
There
about
was a
full social
question that
security
you
number.
said.
Oh.
There was a question you said you weren't sure of, Dean, and I think they said, is that provisional still in green sheet in addition to the upper right corner? I think that they were asking, is it still in that green folder in addition to the same provisional on the ballot? Is it still inside that green folder, or the
Yes.
green envelope? I'm sorry, that it goes in.
Yeah,
That's
so
the
it's
best I can figure out from that question.
Yeah.
it is. It's a white envelope. It has a green label, and also too, if when you pull it out, there's 2 green sheets, one on the top, one on the bottom. Just depending on how you pull out the ballots, it says these are provisional ballots. So.
And I guess the person clarified later and said, provisional ballots have been green colored sheets forever. The one shown was white. No, the ballots are all white. The envelope that the provisional goes in is green.
Correct.
The provisional ballot itself it is white.
Yep. And when you come and pick up, we will point that out to everybody.
Okay, go ahead. I just didn't want to get too far behind. It was starting to pile up a little bit.
There was a question about once you start talking about checking and unchecking, somebody says you can uncheck, so you might want to.
Yeah.
We'll
Yeah.
call HQ.
Yeah, call HQ.
Yeah,
It's
before you do that.
It rarely happens. It really does. It rarely happens. It's called undo checking, but it's rarely happening. The chief will have to override it. All right. Anything else? Well, I guess an additional reminder is remember that provisionals, we've given you green provisional or privacy folders. So use that. It will make it easier for you to identify your provisional voters that are in the precinct. And yes, all SCRs have to have full social security number. All other provisional reasons require just last 4, but it's always safer to just go with the entire social security number. There occasionally will have voters fill out the wrong side of the envelope, and if there's no complete social security number, then it can't be counted, unfortunately. All right, so
Another
we're
question,
now.
John.
Yeah.
Someone asked, is the provisional overlay used after being filled in, other afterwards? I'm not quite sure. I think they just mean where in the sequence is it used, and I think the answer is that use it once the voter is done and the envelope is completed, and this is kind of the final check before that voter leaves. You're going to use that overlay to make sure that the voter didn't miss something, so we can correct it before the voter's gone. so we wouldn't have a vote that didn't count. So this is the quality control for you guys to make sure that
Yep.
we're not, because this is a mistake that can cost someone their ballot. And while it's for the responsibility of the voter to fill it out completely, you guys are their tour guides, and you need to help them through that process.
Yep.
I think that covers
Use
all
it.
of them.
Yep. Use it at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good questions though.
Yeah. Call us at HQ. These overlays also work on the Spanish side, so they both work. They work on both languages. All right. All right. So next up is we started putting these stickers on the provisional envelope flaps, and this makes each envelope more unique than what it already is, and it helps the provisional team when they're doing the research. So just make sure that you enter this number in tally point. There will be a field. I can't remember exactly what it says. I think it says a barcode number. It's not a scannable barcode, so just you'll have to manually enter that. All right, next slide. It has worked well. There hasn't been many issues, or nothing has been reported to us from the provisional team. All right. So this is the biggie. Nearly half of the provisionals that are denied is because the voters had the wrong precinct. So it doesn't matter what kind of provisional it is. Obviously, SDR, the voter has to be at the right precinct. But even provisionals where a voter has the absentee issued status and they don't have that ballot to exchange, they have to be at the right precinct. Okay, so always double check that the voter's at the right precinct. Again, you're unsure, call us at HQ. We got 10 people answering phone calls over there. We're more than happy to help you. If you can't get a hold of us over there, you can also call the main office. Everybody is pretty well trained on helping our election officers identify where voters should be voting or going to. All right, tally point. So this is the way we keep track of if a precinct is ready to open. We would love for everybody to do this. There's always a small percentage. I think it used to be maybe about 20% of the precincts wouldn't report via tally point that they were ready to open. So just friendly reminder again, use this going forward. I believe in November, it was maybe like 10% of the precincts didn't report they were ready to open. Just remember to do this. Tell us you're ready once your poll book and your scanners are up and running. This way we can just focus on the precincts that are not ready, and at that point we're basically 10 minutes before polls open, we're calling the precincts who haven't reported they're ready just to double check. And if your tally point is not working, give us a call and we'll mark you off on our end. But we prefer you do it this way. It's the fastest way to do it, and we're keeping tabs on this 15 minutes before polls open, 10 minutes before polls open, we're making phone calls. All right, and remember to report your hourly turnouts. All right, now before I turn it over to Dan, were there any additional questions?
The last one here, during training, they alluded to allow them if they were unable to get to the new precinct before the poll.
I know that does happen. So sometimes you have voter shows up like 30 minutes before polls close and they're not going to make it and they just want to cast a ballot. That does happen. So I know that's inevitable, but we're trying to bring that 9.5% down to maybe, I don't know, 0%. But I know that's impossible.
Okay, and then there's another, will we still have the chief text groups? Oh, good, we can go over phones real quick, John.
Oh yeah, we have the phones. You're gonna get phones, and then your tablets. Yeah, your chat groups. We have 10 special assistants that will be on the field. All your chats are set up around your special assistants route. One thing I will add is please take care of those phones. Occasionally we'll get one that's damaged and we just got to pay a repair fee. So take care of those phones and tablets.
I think the most important thing, though, to remind everybody is that if you don't have your phone on you, give it to your assistant chief. Give it to somebody that's going to answer the phone, because
Great point.
Yeah.
Great point.
we call you and we can't get through to you, and that's not a good thing.
And if you have a bad phone signal, give us a call. We can, if you're in a school, we usually have a dedicated Wi-Fi that we can give you there.
Okay, John, two things. So where can we find additional information on Tally Point? So that would at Chief Pickup when they get their iPad, but you can't really get in it, right?
No, at that point you really can't get in it. I believe we have a video out there somewhere, or it's in part
It's in.
of one of the videos.
Yeah.
We'll look into it. Maybe we can just cut that section out, and make it its own Tally
Right.
Point guide video. Because we do have a pretty good video. Maybe we just gotta trim that part so it's just exclusively a Tally Point video. Yeah, we can look into that.
Well, and just to add on that, John has streamlined and they've made updates to the Tally Point, so it's pretty intuitive. It says as soon as you get the equipment up, you click and it says we're open, and then it has what am I doing? I'm putting in a provisional, and then you're following and submit. So they do have the edit button now, which was added, right? So
Yeah.
that made it a little bit better. And then can you just discuss the manual that we're using is still the same manual?
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, it's still the same manual from the, I believe, 2024, 2025 version. There were no significant changes from 2025, so we kept that same manual. And then we were hoping to release a new manual this summer with the new equipment, but there's no election equipment has been certified yet by the state, or it's going to be by the time it gets certified. And with the schedule changes that we're experiencing this year, there's just no good time to release new equipment. So we're looking at maybe potentially after the general election is when we'll get new equipment. So that's when we will release a new manual. Luckily, there hasn't been anything significant in terms of changes that affect you all at the precinct level. So your current manuals are still good. In addition to the addendum, all that stuff's available online. We don't have many copies of the manuals left. So if you lost yours, use your online one. We do issue one with the chief supplies, and I personally like the online one better because you can use the search feature.
Right.
Yep.
Okay,
Right.
another question real quick before you move on. It says, are we using the barcode for the provisional entries in Tally Point?
Yes.
No, but not to scan, right? We're just not the barcode. We're putting in the numbers.
Yeah, so the barcode is for the provisional research team over here at our office. They have to manually enter those numbers. It's only 5-digit numbers. We're not asking for much.
Exactly. Okay,
Yes.
another one. If the phone is not working, what happens to the doorbell? If the chief phone is not working, then we just need to put another phone number on the sign, right?
Yeah. Give us a call. We'll work something out with you.
They might bring you a new one.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on one second. Okay. Let me just see one more thing.
So
there's a couple.
I see something here, and I'll answer this one, and then we'll move on, and then we can take more questions at the end.
Okay.
All right. So, translator. Remember, your translator app is online. We do have a couple language officers out in the field this time, but you're always welcome to use that translator app in your phone and tablet. All right. So next up is Dan.
Polling place.
Yep.
Yeah. Thanks, John. Thanks, Dina. Thanks, Eric. And as everyone can see that we are all about recycling. We're going to recycle stickers. We're recycling the manuals. So, we're trying to keep pace with our recycling habits. All right, polling place visitors. Okay, the authorized representatives are some of the poll watchers. And again, we want to make sure that poll watchers are just watching the polls, right? When they come in to your precinct, you have to have a signed letter from their party chair. Again, the copy's okay, but at that point, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be checking to see, are they registered to vote in your precinct? And then, or do an all search. Are they registered to vote in Prince William County. If that still comes up with a no, then you are going to call Chief HQ and they are going to check if they are registered to vote in the state of Virginia. So that'll just, take a couple minutes, but we got to do what we can. Again, we're being friendly with them and trying to be helpful to them, but we have to make sure that they understand and they have been trained that they understand that they're trying to protect voter secrecy, both at the polls and at the booths and the scanners and so forth, where they're not supposed to be. So, but also, who are they going to be talking to? The only person is the chief. Okay, that's it. If they got questions, hey, I saw something, they talk to the chief. And if they're being obnoxious, we can contact their representatives and say, such and such, it really is not a great poll watcher. They're talking to everybody. So we got to make sure that they know where their limits and parameters go to. The poll watchers are not required to see the poll book, but it is allowed. They can be close enough to see that. All right. Media. Okay, outside the 40-foot line, we can't, we go ahead and that's, everybody can do what, media can now start talking and interview people. Campaigners, of course, are out there handing out brochures and talking with voters and so forth. That's fine. But what happens if things get a little out of control? What happens if somebody's running around with a megaphone? What happens if we see militia? I hope that ever happens. But, if things seem to be getting out of hand, please always remember, you as chief, you have jurisdiction in that precinct. You call us at HQ. And if things are still not good, you call 911. Don't hesitate. Just, we don't want melee going on. We don't want voters blocked from coming in. We want to make sure that it's a calm, cool, and joyful, happy, everyone's getting along. Hey, come on in, vote. It's easy, and have a great day. So just be aware, you've got the power at your fingertips. And as I said, with that, it's not allowed in that 300-foot area. Loudspeakers, weapons, intimidating the voters in any way possible. Voter comes in, it's like, gosh, these people were just like, they were all over me. I couldn't stop it. You go out to the parties and you tell them, hey, what's going on out here? And if they don't stop, that's when, again, call HQ, get things going. Militia groups, 911. Okay, just don't hesitate. Just, something really bad. Just don't let it get too bad. All right, I'm going to send this back over to Eric.
Okay, hold on. We got a couple questions. Can we do that
Sure.
before we start? Okay, John, go ahead. I know you saw some in there you were answering.
Yeah, so the first one was, can the signature in the authorized representative letter be a copy? Yes, it can. There was one said, does this mean the observers don't get to observe until verified? Correct, but give us a call. It doesn't take long. We'll do it pretty quickly. We have access to the entire state database, so we can look people up if they're not a Prince William County registered voter. Was there another one, Dina?
Yeah, I've got one here, and I'm just gonna premise it with the fact there's 6 pages of poll watcher guidelines starting on page 106 in your manual. So if you want to flag that one and fold the corner down, it'll be very helpful for you because you guys are all chiefs and assistant chiefs. Can a poll watcher ask questions all day and expect you to explain everything? Well, the only person that the poll watcher is supposed to be talking to by guidelines in writing is the chief.
Yeah.
So did you find another one, John? Was that it?
No, I was gonna say, yeah, if they're asking questions to the point where they're interfering with the voting process, yeah, give us a call. Maybe we'll walk you through the whole process.
And then Eric, if you want to address this one, it says, what about ICE? I think they're referencing the federal agency ICE being at precincts.
I mean, I think you just contact us if you have a concern about that. You just contact us and let us know at Chief HQ. Like a lot of these things are good to think about, but they're not, unlikely to happen, and we'll deal with them as they come. So just a note on that, if they're relevant. But call it Chief HQ if you're not sure about something, like John was saying about the, poll watchers being difficult. They're asking questions all day long. We're happy to get on the phone at Chief HQ with those people and say, hey, Chief, go do your job and let us talk to this person and explain to them that we're there to help, but that, hey, if they have all these questions, you can also mention to them the manuals online. Here's the manual. You could go look at it yourself, and you can send a complaint in. I want you guys to understand too, this is a real closed universe too. Like what happens when they have a complaint about you or complaint at the polling places, they send it to their party, and then the party contacts me and we explain, add some clarity. And if we need to call out to a polling place to tell you we think you might be doing something wrong or need a little tweak, we'll do that. Half the time you guys are doing things exactly right. And we tell the party that hey, they're following the law here. And the observer here is not interpreting correctly. But I think try to be helpful to them, try to open communication with them at the start of the day. And then, usually it goes good from there. I think somebody else had a question, said, why is the time relevant on the provisional sticker? Did we cover that one yet?
Oh, I answered it in the chat.
Okay.
It's really just there for in case the board needs to do extensive research. Usually, this person, it shows this person. The only scenario I can think of where it was used is this person came to vote at this time, but the wrong person was checked in, and then this person came in at this time. That's really the only thing I can think about. But it's rarely, or I don't know. I'm not in those meetings when the electoral board is reviewing provisionals, but they might need additional information to make a decision. That's really what it's there for.
It gives them that context. And just a couple other questions that were answered in the chat, but I know not everybody's in the chat. Somebody asked, is the EAC the holdup on the equipment? And no, the EAC's actually approved the equipment that we're set to purchase. The state hasn't certified it yet, and they're the relevant party here. Someone else asked, does a poll watcher have to be registered to vote in the precinct county or just the state? It's just a Virginia voter, any of our counties or cities across the state. So, and you can always call the office to verify that. Will help provide support on that. So
also, sorry, I was so nervous when I was giving my presentation, I forgot to hit the media a little bit harder. But I just want to make sure that all the chiefs understand that when the media comes in, again, they are only allowed for basically do a pan in a corner from a corner in the precinct. And it's like a 10-second pan. Okay. Before that happens, you make sure that everybody in that precinct who does not want their picture taken either have exited, or if it's an officer can move or exit or be out of the way of that picture. So that's number one. Second thing is, if the media is trying to interview people outside that or inside that 40-foot area, that's a no-no. Okay, they're not supposed to be there. The third thing is, if your curbside is outside that 40-foot, which it is in some precincts and so forth, but the curbside, remember, when the person in that vehicle, they can, the two parties can approach them and say, do you want anything? And then they must vacate the area. Once the ballot is given to the voter, that is a polling area. Everybody needs to be gone. Media, everything. Okay, so you just gotta get kind of tough with it. Make sure that, oh, hey, look, I can film somebody voting. No. That's not the way this works, kids. So, but anyway, just remember, you've got the power with the media and how to control it inside that 40-foot. You are the jurisdiction in there. So just remember that.
Okay, another thing that they had asked is, do we have an idea of how many poll watchers we'll have for this election? Do we have a trend already on that?
It's hard to predict. We're not seeing any during early voting, so if that's an indicator, what you'll see on election day is probably minimal. There was a question here for media. What about YouTubers? We talked about this in the past. You reserve the right to ask the like Dan said. You guys reserve. You guys are the enforcers in the precinct. If you guys have the right to decide now this person can record here. So we can get into great detail about that a little later, or when you're picking up your supplies.
Yeah, the right to
So,
not be
mhm.
the right to not be filmed extends to you guys as well, in addition to the voters that are there. And if somebody came in and they weren't willing to give me credentials or it seemed sketchy, I wouldn't want them to film me in the polling place. So I would say, no, I'm not going to give you permission. You can go back outside the 40-foot line. Most media members are just going to give you their credentials. It shouldn't be an
Yes.
issue. If you have somebody sketchy like that, I would just say, no, thank you. And send them back out to the 40-foot. But that's
Yeah.
up to you guys and the other officers that are in the precinct.
All right. I think if we move on, we'll be able to answer a lot of these questions afterwards.
Okay, Dan, your closing reminders?
Sorry, kids. I thought it was Eric. Anyway, again, remember, we are trying to get your results in by 7:30 in Tally Point. If we don't hear from you, we're calling. Remember to enter, save, double click, and then submit on Tally Point, those precincts results. So remember, chief, assistant chief, or chief EPS, whoever. Two people are going through it. One's reading the tape, the other one's entering. Then they reverse it, check it again, submit. That's all we have to do, guys. Easy. Let's go on. Here we go. Final notes.
All right. I think that's me again. All right. So we're finishing up here. We will take additional questions for those who want to stick around, feel free to keep asking your questions. So just some resources here. Remember, Chief Pickup starts this Thursday at 10 a.m. We do run late on Thursdays until 7 p.m. Fridays will be 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And then on Saturday, 9 a.m. to 1 p.m. On Saturday, we're usually light. We have a light staff. So if a lot of you decide to show up on Saturday, you'll probably be waiting a good while. So I strongly recommend showing up Thursdays and Fridays. Also, on Monday before election day, our HQ phone line will be available until 7 p.m. We do get phone. We have staff that sticks around until 7 p.m. just to answer phone calls from precincts that are usually doing setups on Monday or on Monday evenings or afternoons, and we have that phone line available. And I mean, if we haven't said it already, we strongly recommend that you start set up on Monday before the election. Cage deliveries. Okay, all right. That's all for our presentation. So I think it's safe to say if you want to stick around and ask questions, stick around. We'll answer. We'll stick around for a couple minutes here to see what we can answer for you all.